Good afternoon. Fridays are my favorite days, not because it's the end of the week, but because it's training day. All right, you guys. Today's training is all about why God and money must go hand in hand. Okay, so let's start with the fact that everything is a representation of something else, right? So if I were to say, what is this? Okay, well, we call it a pen. Okay, but what is it for? What does it represent? Well, it represents an ability to communicate. It represents a way to check things off of a to-do list. It represents maybe even love in my ability to write a love letter, right? This by itself, if it were just this with no name or no meaning, my human wouldn't know how to be in relationship with it. Yes? So everything has a symbolic meaning on either side of the pendulum. So again, if you're new to our container, we teach from a model called MFREE. And the presupposition of MFREE is we are 100% human and we are 100% spirit. So things in the spirit have a representation of things in the physical, and things in the human physical have representations to things in the spirit. Now, why do they both represent each other? Well, because though we are all 100% human and 100% spirit, we each came to the planet to exercise all of the principles within that based on our unique gifts, talents, and what we came to the planet to experience, right? And so if you came to the planet to experience more of the ethereal, then there'll be things in the physical more that represent these things. If you came to be more in the physical, then there's spiritual things that allow you to tap into the physical, right? So they go hand in hand, but they're interchangeable, if you will. Okay, so let's look at what money represents on this planet. Okay, oh, and by the way, I love to say this. Love does not make the world go round, money does. Guess why? Because the world is physical. And try going to the movie theater and going, let me give you a hug, let me into the movies, or sitting down and having a beautiful steak dinner at this really cool place in Las Vegas that I want to go. And they have this huge like rack of something, and like it drips butter onto the potatoes, and it's like $375 for this dinner. Like try going to that restaurant, sitting down, eating your food, and then going, no, but I love you. I love you. Now, the ethereal energy is love. The physical energy of what makes the world go round is money, right? It takes money for me to buy this computer. It takes money for me to have the internet. It takes money for me to put clothes on my body. It takes money for me to eat food. It takes money to purchase a house or a car, or the experiences typically in our human that we desire to partake in take money. Yes. Now, can we live completely without money? Sure. There's lots of shelters, there's lots of pantries. We don't call them soup kitchens anymore, but there's places to go, like churches that provide food for people who don't have money. So, yes, there are ways that you could do life without money. But if you're in this container and you're on this call, you want to use money. So, we're going to talk about it in that uh, bent. Okay. So we all want money. It's okay to want money. Okay. So what does money represent? Protection, i.e., a roof over my head, protection of my life, i.e., food in my body, protection of my privacy, right? by way of clothing, protection for my ability to get around with ease, so a car, perfection of said car, insurance, right? All of the things that represents protecting my human to have the experience that it desires. Okay. It also represents provision. What is provision different than protection? Well, you could live in a shack. You could live in a garage. You could go spend a few $100s and buy one of those metal sheds that you put in the back of your house, and you could have physical protection from the elements. Okay. Provision, however, is more like, no, I'd like a house with a beautiful kitchen. I'd like to have a leather couch. Provision is more about that providing the experience that you came to the planet to have. I was talking to a girlfriend the other day, and she was talking about she couldn't wait to go overseas somewhere. I think her and her husband are going somewhere. And she says, oh, and I fly first class because I just like, I did it one time and I can't go back. Right. So for her, she needs more dollars to provide her the experience that she desires on this planet. Yes. So protection and provision. So guess what, guys? Guess what the Father represents in the Trinity? Provider and protector. So cool. So Father is the physical power. So if we look at, now let's bring it back to another representation of a family. Typically, there is a belief system. Now, guys, listen to me well. I'm not progressive. I'm not like, I've been the breadwinner in several of my marriages. That's funny. Yes, I've had 3. So I've been the breadwinner, right? I'm not saying that it, like, what I'm saying is a law or a rule. What I'm saying is traditionally, typically, the woman is the caregiver, the male is the provider, right? The breadwinner. That is typical, traditional. Why? Well, because that's the symbology of the energy. The masculine is the provider protector. That's why they're usually bigger, they're usually stronger, they usually have masculine, like, skills to do physical things that build houses and go to work and till the fields. And that's just the masculine energy. So if we take out wieners and vaginas and we just look at the aspect of the energy of the masculine and the energy of the feminine, okay? The masculine energy, well, guess what? Our human side is the masculine energy, which is why money in the physical represents the same energy as the masculine of being able to provide and protect. Isn't this so fun? So when we look at God, how we typically envision God, and this is one of those things that is slightly mismanaged with, and I say slightly because not fully, but I'm going to explain a little bit about the nature of God, okay? The nature of God is physical and non-physical. The nature, why? Well, because God is the all, okay? There is the aspect of the masculine, there is the aspect of the feminine, masculine Father, feminine Holy Spirit, and the physical manifestation, Jesus. Okay. However, what we've done over time, through all of time, I don't know, but currently right now, when usually people say God, they're actually referring to the Father aspect of God, not the all of God, right? Now, when I talk about, well, I talk to God, I talk to blah, 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 typically I'm talking about the masculine, but I call him God, Okay. However, I have an awareness of the difference between God, the law, and God, the Father. Okay. Because God is all three parts: Father, Holy Spirit, Jesus. So when I'm talking about the He of God, I'm talking specifically about the nature of the Father. I'm not talking about my intuition. I'm not talking about the feminine part. I'm not talking about my human body representation of God. I'm talking about that masculine. Do I still refer to it as God? Well, yeah, sometimes. Sometimes, one, because that just aligns with my belief system. Sometimes it's because it's a habit, right? So I'll be talking about the all of God and go, oh, he, and then I go, oh, actually, you know what? In this sense, I'm not talking about the he of him. I'm actually talking about the masculine of the law versus the feminine of the personal, right? So, so what I want you to get from all of that is that when we're talking about the representation of money and God, it is the masculine representation of God. Okay. Provider, protector in the physical. Okay. Now I want you to look at the two aspects of God as the whole, which is seen and unseen, or tangible and intangible. Okay. So the reason that God and money have to go hand in hand is because the representation of money, provider, protector, yes, also the aspect of our power, our personal power. If I don't have any money, I don't have the power to do anything I want at my will. Yes. So when we look at God as the one source of power, now I need to tap into that, which now comes to when we're talking about the feminine part of it and our identity. Okay. So my identity is creator, period. What creates? Now, this is what love makes the world go round, right? My identity is love. Yes. But if I'm not integrating these two ideas, then guess what happens? Now I'm either chasing money for money's sake, and I've lost sight of my power in relationship to money. And I think money has the power, right? Or I forego the physical manifestation of money, and I'm like, nope, I'm just going to focus on my power and my identity, and now I'm in just my spirit, and I'm not actually integrated with my human, i.e., having all of the experiences, unless again you came to the planet to not have lots of physical experiences. Right now, again, guys, guess what? If you're in this container, you're probably not somebody who's going to willingly like live in your car, or, and maybe you will. I'm not saying this is not an absolute, but I'm saying most of the people in this container desire to have the fullness of both experiences. Okay. So in that, the fullness of both experiences is understanding my identity in the power of me, the spirit, and seeing the implications of the provider protector of money, i.e., how the source provides for me in the physical. Yes. So money has to go hand in hand with our understanding of God. Why? Because our understanding of God as the all, fully human, well, fully physical and fully non-physical, then I don't understand my identity as me, fully human, fully spiritual. Yes? So when we bring in God and then we start really getting into the principles of MFREE, now we see that on the spirit side is law and how things work. And then we see on the human side that it's a very personalized way in how I work. And let's go back to the example of that is the fact that everybody came to the planet for a different reason, right? Which is why you're in this container and not everybody's in this container, because not everybody came to the planet for either physical manifestation or spiritual manifestation, or what we do is integrating both, right? So some people are okay going, you know what, God takes care of me. I don't need anything in the physical. I'm happy to live on the street. Great. Some people are like, screw God. I don't need any spiritual anything. I just want money, you know, blah, blah, blah. Great. And both are perfectly acceptable. But if you're here in this container, you desire both. And so with that, understanding both, the root of all of that is understanding who God is in the facet of the allness, which then is what's the impersonal law and the personal applications of the law in relationship to me, right? So the better we understand the fullness of God, the easier it is for us to understand us, and the easier it is for us to see, what do I really want to manifest? Why do I really want to manifest it? Am I in alignment with what I came to the planet to manifest, right? Because let's just say I'm stuck in a paradigm where my parents told me that the good and right people have a lot of money. Oh, but the good and right people have a lot of money, but they don't like flash it around by buying big houses. So now, if I want to be good, I have to not want a big house, but I have to want a lot of money, right? So either, oh, and then let's get mixed in there the holy people forego material possessions, right? So now I'm trying to be right with two dueling presuppositions or two dueling points of view. Better word, not presupposition. Better word is point of view. Okay. So here are these 2 points of view. Well, technically 3, if I throw in the, okay, I want to be super spiritual, but I want a lot of money, but I can't flaunt it. Do you see why now I'm stuck? Because now I can't have a lot of money because then I won't be spiritual. Or I can have a lot of money, but then I won't be spiritual, but then I can't spend it on anything because I don't want anyone to know that I have a lot of money, so I don't flaunt it, right? And so now when we understand our identity as love, now we understand, guess what? I came to the planet for something completely different than everyone else. And it doesn't matter what someone else's point of view is about money, about themselves, about how they spend it, about what flaunting is, about what flaunting isn't, about what you would want to do with a 6,000 square foot home, an 11,000 square foot home, whatever that is, right? Because maybe you like to house homeless people, and that's why you bought an 1,100 square foot house, 11,000 square foot house, but nobody ever asks you because they're over here going, oh, you're just flaunting your money. Do you guys get this? Right? So when we start to recognize, okay, I need to mind my own business. What's my business? I'm going to line up with why I came to the planet. I'm going to line up with what beliefs I'm supposed to have about money. I'm going to line up with the lack of judgment of money based on why I came to the planet and what I came to the planet to do and have and be and express as a manifestation of the identity of God, i.e., love. Yes? So you must, well, if you'd like to live a life of abundance and ease, you must understand all of the aspects of God in order for money to be easeful, right? Because the more I know the non-judgmentalness of God, the easier it is for me to manifest what I want apart from somebody else's point of view about money. And guys, money is power. Power is actually our identity. Therefore, think of how much jacked upness money has in the world because, not because of money, money's just a thing. Money's just a thing. Like, I call this a pen, I call that money. What it represents is where we get all jacked up. Because the meaning that we give it in right or wrong, good or bad, flaunting or not flaunting, greedy or martyrdom, or you name it, right? So when we recognize that getting square with who we came to the planet to be, apart from any judgment, apart from anyone else's point of view about me, God, or money, right? Because most people who reject God really reject someone else's understanding of God. Because if God is the all, I would ultimately have to reject myself if I'm rejecting God. Yes? Now, what's really cool about God is ultimately that's just a word. And at the root of all of it is the frequency, the vibration, the energy of love. And so even if we reject God, we can't really reject love. I mean, we can, but very few people do. Most people are pursuing, what does that look like? Well, acceptance, belonging, that feeling inside of us that says, I'm loved, somebody loves me, I can love somebody else, right? That's undeniable, right? Even an atheist probably desires to love his wife and children, or her wife and children. Isn't that so funny? I just realized I very much think that being an atheist is a very masculine trait. Okay, side note. That's interesting. I just want you guys to know I have bias, right? I'm teaching this stuff. Do you know why I teach this? Do you know why I set up the way that, like, I set up my program, the way I set up my program? So for those of you who don't know, our coaching program, we have a year-long mentorship program. And basically we have 7 opportunities for live coaching every week. Guess why I do that? Because I need it, because I desire it, because I am moving through this just like you are, because every day I shed more and more of my judgments. I shed more and more of my biases, right? And so, for example, that when I say, oh, he loves his wife and children, well, why didn't I say the atheist loves their spouse? Well, because in my subconscious mind somewhere, I'm assigning an atheist to being a man, right? Isn't that so cool to just be aware this is how I'm functioning? Cool. Now, when I know how I'm functioning, guess what? It's way easier for me to shift that functioning based on the fact that I have choice when I'm aware. When I'm not aware, I don't have choice. Yeah. So the more aware I can become about who God is, the 3 different parts, masculine, feminine, the physical manifestation of me, the more I know that, the more I know for me what is why I came to the planet and what is alignment for me to manifest, right? And if you are in this container, there's a really, really ginormous chance that you did not come to the planet for the sake of money in itself. Believe it or not, very, very few people came to the planet to manifest money for money's sake. Very few people can manifest based on a dollar amount, right? I want $1 million. Okay, but if I told you guys in this container, like, okay, here's $1 million, but can't do anything with it. Can't spend it. You can't save it. Can't put it in the bank. You can never do anything with it. Do you want $1 million? No. Most of us actually want the experience that the $1 million will give us. Okay, well, why do we want that experience? Well, because I want enjoyment, because I want fulfillment, because I want to be happy, because I want to make somebody else happy, i.e., maybe like my parents love to travel. I would love to fly them to Greece first class, right? Both of them, they're old. They're like in their 80s, right? Both of them are old. And so I would love to fly them first class because they have ailments, and putting them on a flight that long in a chair this big, right? I would love to fly my parents first class so they can lay back. Maybe those little pods that they can lay down and sleep and watch whatever movie they want, whatever. I would love to have $1 million to produce an experience for my parents. Why? Well, because I love them. And like, I want to show gratitude for the things that they've done for me and given me in my life. I'd love to do that. I'm not motivated by $1 million. I'm not motivated by having dollars. And I will tell you, if you're in this container, that's probably you. Your focus can't be, okay, I'm going to manifest $1 million. I'm going to manifest $1 million. I'm going to manifest $1 million. No, you need the understanding of what that represents. Maybe it's just simply your personal power to manifest at will. Maybe the why is I want to change the legacy for my children. Like everyone, all of the generations before me lived in poverty or a poverty mindset, right? Just because they didn't live in poverty doesn't mean they didn't have a poverty mindset, right? Do you guys get that? What's the difference? Ooh, let's talk about that. My grandfather had a lot of money, but he lived in poverty mindset in the sense that he was always afraid it was going to go away. And so when he passed away, he had a shed out behind his house that was filled with provisions, providing for him food. So much so that there were cans that were bowed out. Do you know how long it has to take for something inside of a can to start to ferment and grow, and that it would bow the can? Yeah. He had all of that stuff. Why? Because he lived in a poverty mentality, not believing that more would always be coming at any given time of his life, that he would always have what he desires, right? So maybe your lineage is that poverty mindset. Whether it was physically manifested or not doesn't matter. It's a mindset that traps us, right? And maybe you are somebody that you desire the shift for your children's sake, for your grandchildren's sake. You want to change the trajectory of your lineage. Well, that's not about money, guys, right? So we utilize the symbology of money to represent to us what is available for our physical body to partake in. However, if you're in this container, you don't want that apart from the fulfillment and the joy and the peace and the experience of the funness of it, which again is why money going hand in hand with our understanding of God is vital for us to have the fullness of the experience in this manifestation process, right? Because if you're having fun just creating, you're not in that lack mentality going, oh, well, when I get $1 million, then, oh, well, when I lose 10 pounds, then, oh, well, when I get a spouse, then, oh, well, when I buy a house, then. You're not foregoing your joy for something outside of you. You're actually embodying the joy of the experience and looking at the result to then allow the process of navigation to take you where you want to go. It's both. All right, guys. Awesome training. If you have questions, and again, I still haven't figured out how to look at the live at the same time while I'm on Zoom. So if you have questions, if you've made comments, I will address those. if you want to share what your aha was, if you want to go, oh my gosh, this was mind blowing, I have to watch it 500 more times. Please let me know what your response is to this. And that also helps me guide you guys, helps me give you some feedback in directions to go and resources that you might need. There's lots of books that I love. There's lots of just ways to continue to aid us in this journey along the way in our integration of our human and our spirit. So thank you guys so much for being here. I love and adore you, and we will chat with you soon. All right.